and welcome to the first Micro Live of 1986. And let's hope that this year proves rather better for the computer industry than 1985 was. Well, we've come along to the National Exhibition Centre just outside Birmingham for the 1986 Which Computer Show. The organisers say the attendance figures are 30% up on last year, and most of the big names are here. Commodore with the official launch of the Amiga, IBM continuing their takeover of the world, and Apricot as the British representative in the big league. But what everyone here is trying to do is business.
And we'll be taking a more detailed look at the show later on. Earlier this week, the results of the Micro Live Rita Award were announced. Rita stands for Recognition in Information Technology Achievement, and the awards were presented in conjunction with Carners, the organisers of the Which Computer Show.
And there are 6 categories of award, the first being for Business Computer System of the Year. And on the shortlist were the Olivetti M24, Research Machines RM Nimbus, and Amstrad's bargain machine, the PCW 8256.
The winner is British Olivetti for the M24. And to receive the award is Paul Marney, who's Divisional Manager of the Microcomputer Division.
The award for User of the Year went to Delco Products Overseas Limited for installing a computer system that's already saving the company £180,000 a year. And the award for Newcomer of the Year went to SoftWrite Systems Limited, a company that has an impressive record in delivering tailor-made software.
And some more awards later on. Well, I'm now on the Apricot stand here, dominating the main hall. And I suppose that's only fitting because Apricot are a Birmingham-based firm, and they're on home ground. They're showing their range of business micros, including this one here, the Zen. And all of these machines can be networked. A network, of course, is a means of connecting computers together so they can share information and share programs. One very clear trend to emerge at this year's show is the growth of computer networks. Many manufacturers are showing network versions of their machines, and as if further evidence of this trend were needed, the software houses too are bringing out network versions of some of their best-selling programs. Among them is this company, Ashton Tate, who have just unveiled DBase 3 Plus, the network version of their very popular database program. Kerry Hobbs is their managing director. Kerry, what does a network database offer?
Well, there are a number of things, but primarily the microcomputer has not been able to really emulate the operational features of a mainframe because people need to share information, share files. They need to be able to input and build their operations of their company. For the first time, DBase 3 will allow you to really share that kind of information. Secondly, you can share very expensive peripherals such as laser printers and etc.
Right, thanks, Kerry, very much. Well, let's see how that works. This micro here is hooked up via a network to another microcomputer some distance away on the Specialist Computer Centre stand.
Well, the idea is that I can run that same program, DBase 3 Plus, on my micro here. And then the information, the files that Fred or I or anybody else who's in the network may want to use can be retrieved by all of us from the central micro.
And the program that we're both running is a very simplified database about personnel records. I'll show you just how simple. It's just for this demonstration. I want to look at the details for a chap called Alan David. And here's his record. Name, Alan David. Job title, he's the manager. And his salary is £11,000 a year.
And thanks to the fact that this machine and Fred's are networked, and we're running this program, DBase 3 Plus, which has been specifically designed for networking, I too should be able to display that same information. Let's have a look. I want to have a look at Alan's record, and there it is, Alan's personnel record.
Yes, but I've just heard that Mr. David has been promoted, lucky fellow. So I've now got to amend his record. Okay, to amend it, I simply select that option, and it's Alan once again. Alan David, he is now the managing director. Managing Director, and of course his salary has gone up to a staggering £55,000. He said he was a lucky chap. Now notice, while I'm doing all this, this particular record is locked, as it says up there. Now the meaning of that is nobody else on the network can actually get at this record while I'm working on it. So Mr. David doesn't get 2 pay rises.
We'll see about that. Actually, I think demotion and a cut-in salary would be more in line for that gentleman. Want to change the details? Want to change Alan's details? Let's see if I can. No, it says very clearly there the record for Alan is being amended by another user. So there we are. Alan's job and salary have been saved by the software.
Well, we're certain to be hearing a great deal more about networks because they're precisely what many business users need. However, typical of this industry, the different hardware manufacturers can't agree on a standard.
A new American company financed by the man who backed both Compaq and Lotus is hoping their new data management system, Paradox, is going to rival popular spreadsheets and word processors in sales. Well, what makes it so different? Well, the information is held as a series of tables, not as one file, but can be broken down into many files. In this case, we've broken it down to 3 files. The name of the person, where he lives and his credit limit, again his name, the item purchased and the quantity, and then the prices for the item and its description. Well, extracting information from 3 different files may seem quite complicated, but it uses a technique called query by example. A series of query tables like this are produced, 1 for each file, and all that's needed is a tick in the appropriate box of the information that you require. Press 1 key. It's claimed that by breaking the information down to small files makes it very much faster than holding it as one massive file. And there we have the result itself. Well, is this a new Lotus 123? Perhaps not, but it's very fast and it's easy to learn.
Well, here's an interesting idea which could thwart the software pirates. It's called the Sage Lock from Sage Software. When you buy a package, you also get a gizmo like this which acts as a key. On loading, you're given a 4-digit code. Here we are, 1432, which corresponds to positions on these sliders. Right then, 1432, and that gives us a 4-color code down here, which is green, blue, red, white. Okay, I'll enter that. Green, enter that. Blue, where are we? There it is. Red and white, and we're in. The idea is that though you may be able to rip off that disc, you certainly can't copy this gizmo. They won't in fact tell me how it works, but I can reveal that there are no coloured gels inside here. It all has to do with wavelengths of light and polarising filters.
Now, earlier on this week, we had some of the most influential men in the microcomputing industry on our MicroLive stand. And they joined us to take part in our very own version of Any Questions. Facing the audience were Sir Clive Sinclair, chairman of Sinclair Research, Roger Foster, chairman of Apricot Computers, Alan Sugar, chairman of Amstrad, and from America, the inventor of the Commodore PET and now the president of Tandon Computer, Chuck Peddle. One of the most interesting exchanges came out of a question about the Motorola 68000 processor chip.
The rush towards the 68000 may have been driven more by technical enthusiasm than by genuine need. Very often the machines that were produced did no more than people could perfectly well do on 8-bit machines. I do think that perhaps we've been inclined to rush for the exciting technical fix a little bit too fast. I mean, I obviously include ourselves very much in that camp.
Since the QL uses a Motorola 68000, aren't you saying that the QL is a bit of a mistake?
I don't think it's a mistake in the sense that obviously we've sold very many thousands of them, but we haven't sold them to the market we hoped to. We hoped that they would sell in the same sort of universal way that the Spectrum had and other machines have done. And it simply hasn't. It has sold very well by comparison with the Vision machines, obviously, because it's sort of a halfway house, so the numbers are quite high. But we were certainly disappointed by the numbers, we must admit that, and we certainly didn't get the market that we expected to.
Alan?
Well, I'm afraid we're in marshy territory here as far as I'm concerned, because I don't know what a Motorola 68000 is, quite frankly. My guidelines and brief given to the engineers that design the products that we produce is that we have to, as Sir Clive said, produce a machine that offers the consumer what he actually wants it to do. And our company, I've stood here at exhibitions such as this one, and noted and spoken to consumers who don't even ask what processor is inside the product that we're producing. So I tend to agree there is a tendency of a rush towards new technology, and I think what is needed by manufacturers like ourselves is a somewhat of a tempering down of the enthusiasm of the design engineer, to not rush off at a tangent to stick this new thing in the machine. Let's make sure that this new thing is actually going to do something that the consumer can actually see and benefit from.
Thank you. Next question, please.
May I ask, given the amount of creativity and talent there is in British companies, do you think that by the end of the decade, a single British company will be able to break through in America?
Roger, I think I'd like to come with you to that first.
Well, we've, as you know, had a pretty serious go at breaking into the American market in the course of 1985. And you can argue that we've either been successful or unsuccessful. In practice, what we've done is we sold about 5,000 computers, business computers, worth about $8 million. Well, that, for the first year, I think is some considerable success, even though I must admit it is below the original target that we set ourselves. I think, being practical, we're going to have to settle for niche markets in America. It is so big, so dominated by IBM and other major players. But I think for British companies to succeed there, they must go for a niche in the market rather than for the scattergun approach of the volume market.
Sir Clive.
Well, that's one approach, the niche market, but the other approach is to come up with a product which is uniquely better than anything that's available from any other source. And we did that with the ZX81, and we sold over 1 million of those in the States, and of course that's history now. We're certainly not doing much in the States now. Alan is going into the States with a unique product. He's got world leadership in his product there, and I believe he'll succeed very well. And we certainly hope in future to come up with products which have sufficient world leadership to do the same sort of thing. And I don't see any reason why a British company can't go back into the States as long as they've got real technical leadership.
Is there any other reason why British companies find it so difficult getting on their feet in the US?
Well, no, I think they identified the problem. Frankly, we're a US company that hasn't taken a go at the US market, except in a way that I think more people ought to try. There are a series of partners in the United States market that have distribution, that have the need for new and innovative products, and certainly people on this panel are capable of doing those. A partnership arrangement, a way of making that product sold to them, either as an OEM product or in some kind of joint venture, I think is probably the easiest way to get around the fact that some of those companies have 20 years worth of investment in distribution and a lot of relationships. You have to find a way to get in cooperation with them. But I think if you have an innovative product and you've got the right price point, you can find partners, and that's clearly the way Tannen's chosen to go into the market this time.
Just a taste there of the questions put to the experts on the MicroLive stand.